Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Now, this one's going to be a little bit strange, but we got to get this out there. Okay. So I've mentioned the core and the crust, and now this is my video about the core and the crust. Love in the core is literally no different than love in the crust. Because if you're in the crust and you get into a plane, you're going to see the same curvature of the earth as the people who are on the crust. When I first learned this, I gotta say, I did go through a little bit of a nervous breakdown with my brain, because in remembering what life was in the core, I freaked out because I was like, oh, am I in the core? Because this is just like the core. And then I remembered, oh, the difference is, so let's go to Atlantis. Atlantis, a lot of beings came in. And in the beginning, there was 8 billion who came in. Then, once the reptilians were released, that doubled to 16 billion. And we also, okay, I thought it was 32 billion. Okay, we were 16, okay, so I said 32 billion the other day and that was wrong, but I do err. Okay, so 16 billion people who were living in the 9 islands. When time came, somewhere around 2 billion were able, so before the fall of Atlantis, there was a gateway open to the core and they went through. I want to say somewhere around 2.8 billion go through to the core. I know that when it comes time for the fall, the choice of the fall of Atlantis was because we were getting overpopulated in the 9 islands. Now let me explain to you why. Okay, we could not go to the rest of the planet. So other than Australia, there are no beings on any other part of the planet. And Australia gets their beings just before the fall. But the Aborigines are the first created Homo sapiens by the priests of Atlantis. We had a gateway open to Australia. The reason is the Tesseracts were headed to North and South Poles during the fall. The point of it was we wanted to inhabit the rest of the planet. In order to inhabit the rest of the planet, we had to get back the ring of the islands. The ring of volcano islands. Yes, they were all volcanoes. Our homes lived off the edge of these volcanoes, and we went and created huge buildings that went up to the sky. Space elevators, people call them. Yeah, if you had money, if you had the ability, not everybody wanted to go up there. I didn't want to go up there. I never went up to space. Didn't care nothing about that. Did not like being that close to ether. I had too much respect for ether, and I was also, I studied. I was a scribe, so I did more an inside Earth with my mother Earth, Tara, Tiamat, than I did, because of whom I am, being the daughter of Mother Earth and the daughter of Thoth and Ma. I don't go far. I know about the Aborigines. I know about the island in Australia being protected and being a very special place. I know that once the Tesseracts move, I know Australia does not get flooded out. I know the Aborigines always survive it. I know that the next group made after the Aborigines were the Mongolians. I do know that. But that was after the fall. That would be after 12,000 BC, somewhere like that. So technically, besides Aboriginals going back to 40,000, or not 40,000, I'd say 28,000, 30, 18, 19,000 BCE, then I would say that all other Homo sapiens have to be 11, 10, actually 9,000 years or younger, period. That's just the beings that are being made. They had to test out the Aboriginals had problems. They had issues. They had to keep coming in on, they had to keep doing things, and it was more of injecting it through the. This is where the Palladian sisters come in, which is kind of weird. I don't know why you called their whole star system after these few beings that were in Atlantis, but hey, cool. I'm not yelling about that. I think it is neat. They love it, that's for sure. But the sisters were actually beings at Atlantis who would help with the DNA factor, because that is their job, is to assist in planets and all the beings on the planets, all of them, of all dimensions. Where the Andromedans are the dragons, and they deal with the ethers of all the galaxies. Anyways, so yeah, each star seed has their role and their situations. Like, I want to say Arcturians are the peacekeepers and the healers. They're the ones that came and saw Eisenhower. So yeah, they came from inner Earth, or core. Sorry, I'm not allowed to call them in. They don't like inner Earth. They hate that, by the way. They like core and crust. They like the sea and the sea. We're all about seas. Carbon, crust, core. I don't know what it is, but they do. They like these names. Crystals, seas. They like sea. So the dealio here is, and this is how I'm just going to explain it. So if you're in the crust, because they shoot off rockets too, and they don't shoot off rockets anymore. They used to. Actually, no, they have the UFOs. They're the ones with the space gear. Not the one that fell in Roswell. That's from the futuristics. That's a different story. That was actually from people from the crust, from the future, that not allowed to get into them right now. Okay, so if in Houston, Texas, you shoot off a rocket at the same time, if you go directly through Earth into core Earth, and you shoot off a rocket from the exact same spot at the exact same time, the exact same trajectory, when they hit a certain level of the ether, they hit a quantum entanglement, and the two of them will pop out at the same place, and they will explode. They will ram into it. They will appear on top of each other and implode, basically. So the whole dealio is that even though they're in the core, they still see the same curvature as us due to the quantum entanglement. They also, so if you're in the core, the only reason why you know you're in the core, and this is for those to wake up, those who are born on the crust right now that came from the core, you know by the animals, okay? They don't have gators and crocodiles. They've got saber-toothed tigers. They've got some dinosaurs. They got pterodactyls. They got mammoths. So you'll know. They're also much bigger. They're 9 feet, 13 feet. Except for the hobbits, which is what we are. We would be considered hobbits. So if you are a group of beings that were rescued from the crust and brought into the core, so your genetics would not be lost, so not all genealogies are not lost. There are beings down there that have their gene, because that is where the gene pool is protected of all genes, of all star seeds, of all beings. The core is benevolent, much more benevolent. We will be benevolent. It's just a matter of time. There is a galactic federation. We do travel between, but not in this dimension. The only way to travel between galaxies is by leveling up, going to the highest HPH, getting your angel, doing your plasma, doing your duties, and then eventually you will be assigned another, or if a galaxy did like Tiamat did back in the beginning when she was asking for help and she wanted star seeds in to see the birth of her giants, then you would go to another galaxy and you would do that in another dimension, and then you would help develop the dimensions of the HPHs and go on like that, and that's how it works. Everything is cycles, everything happens, and what happens here happens there, as above, so below. All this is true. Everything about my websites is just about education. I know that my timeline gets all flubberty-ducked with the carbon dating, but if you take the carbon dating, multiply it by 0.2875, you'll get the accurate numbers. Then you'll understand how my timeline works. And the only reason why I have this is not to tell you what to believe, but for you to wake up and to remember. Remember. If it doesn't resonate, you didn't experience it. Or you don't want to remember and you want to be forgetful. Because it is easier to forget. It is easier to live in the forget. It is easier to be ignorant. It is. It is the hardest thing of my life to be alive and awake and see this cruelty and know that it's not supposed to be like this. But I also know that if you take the time and get to know and wake up and listen to your higher self, she'll tell you how to calm down. He'll tell you how to be. He'll tell you alpha male ain't the way. And if you're not helping other beings, you're not feeding your soul. That's the problem. Selfishness starves the soul. You starve the soul, you starve who you are. You starve your being. You keep yourself from waking up and being happy. And if your true goal is happiness and it is nirvana, which I have hit nirvana, it's when you are able to be reverent about everything. And as always, praise the all, Divine Pymander, and King Thoth of Earth. Thank you for our life, death, and birth. Knowledge, love, and reverence for all you teach, so we may appreciate mountain to beach. Let me sing your praises all day and night, so my body can rest for the next day's plight. Forgiving ourselves as we forgive them all, so we may receive our own forgiveness call. Kindness and consideration are a must. Let me always be just. Peace and tranquility throughout the land. Let my presence always be a loving stand. Everything I do is caring and sharing and love for you. I just need you guys to understand. When you hit space, that's a quantum entanglement. When these ships are up there in space, I know it looks like they're traveling around. There is something that happens. And they know it. They don't speak of it because they don't understand it. But that's because they're in a place they don't belong. The space station, International Space Station, you need to get the fuck out of there. You have no right shitting in the ether. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. The bardos that everybody that has anything to do with that space station, y'all are going to go through some serious hell in this life if you do not fix it. If you do not figure a way to pump that shit in your waste and bring it back to this earth, you're fucking wrong. You're disgusting wrong. They have me cursing, okay? They have me mad at you about this. NASA, you have no right to lie. NASA, you have no right to do the bullshit you're doing. Science, get off your fucking high horse. You're wrong. All of you are wrong. And CERN and whoever is trying the 0 point energy, stop trying to play God. You're going to bring a hell down upon us that we don't deserve. You will. So yeah, those of you who are screaming about CERN, scream louder. You're not loud enough. You haven't shut them down. You also need to go attack the people who are doing 0 point energy. They ain't got no right to play God. Shut up and listen. Listen how much pain you're causing the other side. Stop. Maybe by 21-25 you'll make it stop. I love you guys. This is all for the future. Ain't nobody listening today. Y'all ain't even prepared for this. Have a blessed day.